Hey everybody, today I'm talking about my most anticipated games to be released kind of over the Essen Spiel Digital weekend. Obviously the physical version of the convention is cancelled this year. So I've got some other games on here as well that are kind of due out maybe in the weeks following Essen or maybe a month or so, but all due for release this year. Again, all games I'm really anticipating. Most of these games are, in fact almost all of them are a kind of Euro style game. And some of them I know a bit more about than others. You know, some of them is just like the designers piqued my interest or the artwork and stuff. So forgive me if I don't know some of the intricate details about these games. But let's get started. I think I've got about, well, probably under 15, but more than 10 games here. So, and they're also in no kind of particular order either. So the first game I'm going to talk about is Venice. Now, Venice is by David Turczi and Andrew Novak. This one is a game I've actually backed on Kickstarter already, but it is due to be released at Essen. It's kind of a pick up and deliver style game, but with a bit of intrigue to it, because I think you're trying to avoid kind of crossing paths with other players in order to kind of prevent getting corruption, which I think has a kind of Knizia style mechanism where, you know, if you have the most corruption, you can't win. I've been waiting for this one for quite a while now. It's kind of the next line or the next game in the line of series following Ragusa, which was a game that had kind of, you know, moderate success a year or two ago. But this one looks really nice. Again, David Turczi always interests me, so looking forward to giving that one a go. The second game on my list is also by David Turczi, and this one is Taiwan Tinsuyu. This one is by Board and Dice. To be honest, Board and Dice games are kind of one of the companies that no matter what they bring out, I have an eye on, because I generally like everything they put out. All those kind of games in the T series, you know, your Tzolk'ins, your forgive me, that's a different company, but your Teotihuacans, your Trismegistus, your Tekenyus. This one is kind of a sister game to that. I think they're kind of touting it as a game of that series, but obviously this one doesn't have Tashini involved. This one is Turczi, but it's a worker placement style game where the kind of focus of the board is a kind of Incan pyramid, and you are taking actions kind of cascading down that pyramid based on different restrictions, climbing tracks, so you've got all your kind of good Euro tropes, and it looks like there's quite a lot going on, and I'm really looking forward to it. The next game is Red Cathedral. This one is quite intriguing because it is a rondelle style game with dice, and you're basically, I think you're choosing one of these dice around the kind of perimeter of the rondelle, and you're moving the amount of spaces on the pip value, and then taking the action that lands on. But the more dice you kind of line up, the more powerful the actions you can take. But whenever you take them, all those dice are kind of re-rolled, and so on. So it's quite tactical. Essentially, you're gaining resources and then trying to contribute to building your own kind of cathedral. And you're doing that by cashing in resources and flipping these cards over. And the kind of size of the cathedral is scaled on the amount of players in the game. But it looks really nice. It looks like it comes in quite a cool little package, because the box is fairly small, so I imagine the game's going to be quite affordable, and it just looks really fun, and to be honest, it's probably one of my most anticipated games this year. The next one I'm going to talk about is by Alexander Pfister. This is Cloud Age. Now, Cloud Age, I don't know a lot about what the actual mechanisms of the game are about, but it's one of Pfister's big games, and I think this one is a collaboration. And obviously, you know, going back to other big games he's brought out, they're all been absolutely out of this world good. So hopefully this one kind of lives up to that kind of level of quality. This one is kind of set in I suppose a kind of dystopian future, and there's a lot of kind of zeppelins and, you know, hot air balloon kind of things. And one of the things that really intrigued me about it is the fact that it has that, or I believe it has a kind of narrative injected into the game as well, a bit like Maracaibo, you know, when the game kind of develops story-wise. This one does have that, so that I love that aspect of Euro games. I think there's a fantastic road with loads to be explored, and you know, Pfister is really kind of paving the way of that. So really excited for Cloud Age. Next, I have a game by Eagle Griffin Games. I'm not sure this one is actually due out at Essen, but I know it's not too far away. This one is Rococo Deluxe. Now, Rococo is a game by Matthias Kramer, who well, this game was released years and years ago, where you are basically, I think it's collecting resources and building these Rococo style costumes and sending these people off to the ball, and I think it's got an area control style mechanism to it. But this game has always been a bit of a grail game, always been very highly touted by Eurogamers, but almost impossible to get hold of. But now they've brought out a new deluxe version. I think it's got all the expansions involved. Beautiful artwork by Ian O'Toole. I mean, some of the best looking artwork I've ever seen, and I'm just really excited to get my hands on it because I've been wanting to play this for years. I love the theme, love the artist, love the designer. You know, he's made great games like Glenmore 2 and other things, so he's a really great designer. So that is Rococo Deluxe. Next, I have a game a bit similar to that in terms of an older game, but this is a big box version. This is Hanza to Tonica by Andreas Stedding. Now, funnily enough, this is Stedding's probably, well, by far his most famous and popular game, and I've never played it. It's an extremely aggressive kind of a route building game where you're kind of building an engine and getting better as the game goes on. It's a game that I've always kind of been in two minds about because it is so confrontational, but I kind of, a switch kind of flicked in my mind and I thought I really want to give this one a go. And as soon as I went to buy the game, it was out of stock everywhere, probably because they're bringing out this new big box version with all the maps. So a bit of a blessing in disguise, but very excited to get this one because I really want to try it. So that is Hanza to Tonica big box. Next I have Paris. Now Paris is the latest release by Wolfgang Kramer and Michael Kiesling, who are just brilliant designers and some of my favourites. This one is again another gorgeous looking game, amazing artwork on the box. And I think it's got an element of city building as you are kind of placing tiles on different locations, trying to control them. I don't think it's majorly heavy, but probably that kind of lower end of medium weight. But again, a game I've been excited about for quite a while now. I missed the Kickstarter campaign, unfortunately, but hopefully it will be readily available following Essen. So excited for that one. Next, I've got another game by, I think it's Kramer, Wolfgang Kramer. That is ReNature. Now, ReNature is another kind of area style game by Kramer, which I think he's probably one of the absolute masters of that genre of games. This one is a kind of a domino style game where you are placing these tiles with different animals on them, trying to control regions. Looks really cool. I love the theme. And again, I think it's a lower middleweight game that's probably quite accessible in terms of weight or kind of a barrier to entry. So excited for that. Anything Kramer brings out, again, highly excited for. Next, possibly my most anticipated game at this point in the year. This is Prager Kapoor. This one is by Vladimir Suchy, I believe. And funny enough, I haven't played many of his games in the past. I've not played Underwater Cities, which is kind of very highly regarded amongst Eurogamers. But this one I've actually seen played, and this one, it looks right up my avenue in terms of you are taking actions based on this kind of wheel mechanism. And one of my favourite mechanisms in Eurogames is when taking resources or taking actions is incentivized by the longer you leave it. So this one, like the earlier you take an action, you might have to pay additional resources. The middle kind of ground, you might not have to pay anything but not get anything. But the longer you leave actions, the you get bonuses for as well. And this one does have that. You're also trying to kind of build things. You're getting bonuses. You've got really interesting looking player boards that can kind of shows your resources and stuff like that, but you can also get additional bonuses by catering to certain kind of strategies. Love the look of the game. It does have a real kind of old style Euro feel to it in terms of its aesthetic, and yeah, definitely one of my most anticipated games because it looks like a lot of fun. That is Prager Kapoor. Next one, I have a game that I don't know too much about. However, what I do know about it is quite exciting. This is Merv, The Heart of the Silk Road. This one is designed by Lopiano, who I think did Kalamala and Ragusa, which I mentioned earlier. And this one's published by Osprey Games, and I really like the stuff that Osprey put out. I think they do really nice productions. And to be honest, this one is mostly based on the look of the game. I think it's Ian O'Toole again who does this one, but it's got this very bright, vibrant kind of Middle Eastern look to it. The board looks really nice. I think it's got an aspect of tile placement to it, because it's the board's got this kind of a skeleton grid where you're going to be placing tiles. But yeah, it's a very attractive game, looking game, and excited to see if it lives up to the aesthetic, really. Next one is a bit of an anomaly on the list. This one is a party game, and it's a party deduction game called Masterword. Now, this one is essentially a mastermind, but using words, and essentially you're going to have almost like a clue giver who's going to kind of choose a word, and everybody's going to be writing kind of topics on a board, and then the person in the hot seat is going to be kind of giving a token or giving a kind of a signal to the other players about how many of those clues are on topic. And the problem is you don't know which ones those things apply to, so it really are trying to deduce down what this word could be based on the kind of words that the other players are giving out. I probably haven't explained that well, but essentially it's mastermind with a word element to it, but looks really fun. It looks like it could be a bit of a meteor style party game that people can get their kind of teeth sunk into. So that is Masterword. The next one is, I'm pretty sure isn't coming out at Essen, but it's, and to be honest, this one is based on the publisher and the pure aesthetic of the game. This one is Carnegie, which is coming out by Quined Games, and again, I really like the stuff that Quined put out, the heavier style Euro games. Now, Carnegie has amazing looking artwork, and I think it's an economic Euro style game based on, I think he was a big kind of business tycoon going back probably about a century. And yeah, this one has, I like economic Euro games. Quined Games always make great things, and again, visually looks stunning. So that's pretty much the extent of what I know about it, but from that alone, I want to give it a go. Next up is by another heavy hitter designer. This one is Halatau. This is the newest kind of farming game by Uwe Rosenberg. And I'll be honest, a lot of Uwe Rosenberg don't overly appeal to me. A lot of his games don't really appeal to me. However, this one does look a bit more exciting to me. And this is, again, it's another farming kind of simulator. I don't know how many of those he can bring out. He seems to really like doing those. However, yeah, this one I think is on the heavier end of things. I think it's got a lot of variability into it, and I'm going to give it a look. But other than that, don't know too much about it. And finally, the final game I'm going to talk about is a roll and write game, and this is a twist on one of my favourite kind of proper board games and one in my collection. That is Trois Dice. Now, Trois is one of my favourite Euro games. I rate it right up there, and obviously a dice version or a roll and write version of the game is something that appeals to me, because if I can get that Trois feel in something that's maybe half an hour or less, but still has all those things that are enjoyable about Trois, then that sounds great. So again, I've not seen this one played, however, great designer, great, the core game of it is fantastic, and if it's based on that. But don't get me wrong, I want it to be different to to warrant having both of them. But that name Trois has a lot of prestige for me, and I think a lot of prestige from many gamers, because it is a fantastic game. And if this one has that, then it's going to be great. So yeah, that's just a few games that I'm really looking forward to. I think, to be honest, this year, despite all the pandemic crisis, the quality of games that are coming out and probably still yet to come out are as high as ever. I think, based on this list, I think maybe the best of the year is still yet to come. There are a few games that I think have been available in Europe that aren't available in America yet, such as Bonfire and the Castles of Tuscany, and both Steffenfeld games, which would undoubtedly be right at the top of this list. However, I've played them both, so I'm quite lucky in that regard. So check out my reviews of those if that's something you're interested in. But yeah, hopefully there's something on here that's piqued your interest that you haven't kind of heard about. If there's anything else that you think might kind of appeal to me based on these games, then drop me a comment below, because I'll be sure to check it out, because end of the year is always extremely exciting for board gaming, and Obviously this year is no exception to that. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit like and subscribe to my channel, and you can check out my other videos too. Additionally, you can support me by following me on Instagram and backing me on Patreon, and I'll leave the links below for those. And for everyone else, I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye.